Hey guys, Dev with Crime Hive, and we're going back to the Gregory Morales case. A lot of focus and attention has obviously been on Vanessa Guillen for very good reason, obviously. But this mystery is far from over, and I've touched on it before, but we really want to know answers with Gregory Morales as well. And I found a few things that I think really could be the keys to this case, the clues that I think will solve this case. And I haven't done a lot of digging, don't have access to the affidavits. If I had that, this would be a whole nother conversation, and I would really be able to give you guys a really good idea of what happened. Right now, just going off some of these other reports, but I did find some interesting things, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts as well as I dig into these clues as we learn more. And then I want to just mention another weird, bizarre mystery that I've learned about that occurred as well near Fort Hood. Fort Hood is just under fire right now. And I always love hearing from other soldiers or previous soldiers that were on the base to get their perspective on this. If you guys like these kind of videos, subscribe to my channel. This is Dev with Crime Hive. Let's talk about this story here again with Gregory Morales. So a couple things that I wanted to point out. And so I was looking through Army Times, and the family is looking to really clear Gregory's name from this deserter list. And I think this is one of the things I want to touch on at the beginning is the family of Gregory, knew early on that he had not gone AWOL. He didn't just desert his post and leave. This is someone who was days from being discharged, right? So there's a couple things that I want to mention that was also mentioned in this article as well. First thing, though, is we really believe that if the Army believed that he had not gone AWOL and they actually had started an investigation much quicker and really created more of a sense of urgency with this, that more clues could have been developed. And one of those clues that I've learned about, maybe you guys have heard about it before, is his Kia Rio. What we learned is, so you've got, I'm going to refer to my notes a little bit. So he was missing August 20th, around, some speculate August 19th he was last seen, missing August 20th, 2019. He goes into deserter status September of 2019. And then we know that his remains were found recently, June 19th, 2020, still deserter status, okay? Still considered deserter status until the Army can fix that. They're also, the family of Morales is really pushing to change that, the way that the Army does things, to change that status much faster. And so what I want to talk about, though, is this Kia Rio. We learned through the article I was reading that Greg's wife, Penny Morales, she apparently did a Carfax search in December. Well, this was in May of 2020, but found out that in December of 2019 that the Kia was registered in Dallas, and then it was sold at an auction. Okay, and then apparently they go to the Army with this information, and officials told the family that they apparently had recovered the car in January of 2020. So that's about a month after, right? Pretty interesting, because we're talking about the vehicle that he was last seen driving off base. Now, a lot of clues. That's really, I think, the first big clue that I really want to speak out about is, how did this car end up being registered in Dallas? Maybe some of you guys have some better insight on this, and I'd love to hear in the comments. Because it wasn't considered an active investigation or wasn't taken very seriously, the car must not have had what's called an ATL, attempt to locate, on it. Typically law enforcement, when they're trying to find someone or a vehicle associated with that person, there is an alert on that vehicle. So if it's moved around, and it's being registered and things like that, there would be this alert, and authorities would know what this transfer of hands, essentially. And so what I'm getting at here is that didn't seem to happen. Somehow it gets registered in Dallas. I'm wondering how it got there. Did somebody just bring it down there? Did they sell it? Did it then wind up at an auction? What happened to the license plates? Were they not able to track that this belonged to Gregory? Was his vehicle registered to maybe his wife? lot of things I still don't know. Okay, this is a lot of it's speculation at this point. Wish I had the documents to show this. I would absolutely dig into it and be able to tell you guys otherwise. But what are your thoughts on that? That's the big clue right there. Second thing that I want to point out that I learned also from the same article here was, as I was searching through here, and I'll tell you, okay, so one thing that I learned, and I didn't realize this, apparently Gregory was having some personal issues, and it's right here actually in the article. He had some personal issues at the time of his disappearance. Huge red flag. He was actually saving up money to hire a divorce attorney. So really interesting. Now, I don't know much about Penny. I'm not doing a lot of research on her. She's been kind of kept out of the news, obviously. Sounds like she's been cooperative. I have no reason to speculate that she's behind anything, but that is a huge piece of information to note. Apparently, when they were looking for Gregory the next day, when he wasn't at work, he wasn't on base, they went to the residence, and Penny had answered the door and said that she had seen Gregory the previous night. So I don't know if that meant the night he was missing or if it was the night before that. Still don't have a lot of that information. I'm going off some of these reports, but huge red flag considering he was looking to get a divorce and he was saving up this money. And this is just days before he disappears. Was there somebody else involved? Was they're getting possibly divorced? Maybe there's another man involved. Is this person jealous? Person vengeful, hateful of Gregory? Wants him dealt with before he leaves and he's off base, and he starts hiring this attorney to go after the wife. There was there's apparently stepchildren involved. I'm not going to get the children involved, but apparently Gregory has stepchildren. I don't know some of this backstory as I'm still digging into it, but I know that that's a huge red flag. What do you guys think of that aspect of it? Again, sounds like the wife has been cooperative even with Gregory's mother, and had given, had even called the Army investigators to give him this information. Now, keep in mind, the Army has the investigators have much more information than we know, and as media and journalists try to dig in and get that, what we're learning is the Army has kept some of this information very closed off. It's very hush-hush. Now, here is the other massive clue that I think could really just open up the entire case. If you guys haven't heard this already, maybe you have. The last people apparently to have seen Gregory might not have been just Penny. It might have actually been a group of friends. And I'll tell you right here in this article, according to Gregory's mother, okay, Greg was at a club that night that he went off base, and he had met up with some friends. Who are these friends? Now, Gregory's mother goes on to say that, hey, somebody has to know something about this case. Somebody has to know, who are these people? What are their names? Law enforcement, again, closely guarded this information. That's huge, you guys. If we know anybody that was known to last have seen Gregory, that's a huge clue right there, obviously. A lot of times the last person to have seen someone dead is very much involved. And so, another article I found, Gregory had friends, civilian friends off base. So there's a lot of people that have possibly been interviewed. There is a lot of information that is kept hidden right now because they don't want to ruin this investigation. Again, it can really, if too much information is divulged, you can lose evidence, and it's done with. So I wanted to point out that big one, and wanted to know if you guys have heard that information as well, and if you've heard otherwise. Any other theories out there? Any other information that you guys have learned with Gregory Morales? Now, that's really the big things that I wanted to point out. Those major clues. Another thing that I would say, I think I really pointed on those. The other thing I was going to mention, I told you again that I was going to mention another case that hasn't really been very public, but you guys have probably already heard of this, that there was another recent homicide 13 miles off of base from Fort Hood. And this was a 27-year-old PFC Brandon Rosecrans. And apparently he was found, his Jeep was on fire. Okay, his vehicle was literally set on fire. They think it's a homicide. Crazy stuff going on around Fort Hood. I think I'm going to do another video. Let me know if you guys like to see that, if I can maybe do a little timeline of recent events connected with Fort Hood. And then again, going back to Vanessa, we know, a lot of the case has been on this, and again, rightly so. Military's really under fire. All these, sexual abuse and all these allegations that other soldiers are coming forward with. This is a good thing. This is opening up dialogue. We're really getting down to the root of, what is going on Fort Hood. I'm hearing from other soldiers in the comments that were on base in Fort Hood that was just saying it was just craziness and madness, and there were so many secrets, and the gangs were running the base, which, again, not there at the base, but I can tell you one thing here, that if you've got a group of soldiers, men, women, who have gone to battle together, and there's such a deep camaraderie, who's going to go to the authorities? You've got these torn emotions, somebody that's, maybe been saved by another soldier or saved another life. You've got these deep bonds, training through blood, sweat, and tears, all these things going into play. And it makes you wonder, who's coming to the authorities? It's not much different than, out in the civilian world. You've got police, going into some of these neighborhoods, tight-knit communities, don't have very good relationship with the police. Police aren't getting very much information from witnesses. People know what's going on. They're afraid to come forward, or they just don't trust the police. They don't want to give, or, deep bonds with their friends and family. They don't want to, they don't want to, spill the beans. They don't want to, give up this information. Snitches get stitches, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's, I don't want to go too deep into that, but there's a lot of emotions there. So anyway, that's just my thought on that. There's a lot of other speculation. Let me know your thoughts on this. Now, I'm going to come back with some more videos. This is far from over. I think there's going to be more information coming down the pipeline. Knowing this information that Army investigators know, we're going to get some answers. I feel like we're really going to get some answers soon, and I will be back with another video, still covering other cases, and I'll be back soon. You guys take care. This is Dev with Crime Hive. Thanks.